Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Brickanista Broadcast Network here on YouTube and on Rumble. And I'm really, really glad that I'm finally able to have our guest on the show. As you know, we've been co-hosting a hashtag Mind the Brick, hashtag Rebrick This Challenge, along with Debo Bricks. Debo is in Chicago right now for Brick World, and he can't be here today, but I'm really, really happy to have our guest, who you've seen before on the Brickanista Broadcast Network. Please help me welcome Nick Bright from Brighton Bricks. How's it going, Nick?
Hello, everyone. Yes, apart from a few technical difficulties, it's going well. So, yeah.
It's okay. In fact, right before the stream, I was saying, happy Father's Day. And we don't have to do this today. We could reschedule if you want. He goes, no, we can still do it. So thank you so much for taking the time, especially on Father's Day. I hope you had a great day and great weekend.
Yeah, well, I went to the new Lego store. We got here in London. Went to London, and we got a new Lego store in Battersea Power Station, which used to be an old power station. In refurbished, big, posh shopping complex. Brand new Lego store. It's really, really nice, actually. So if anyone is visiting London, obviously you have the good Lego store in Leicester Square. But this is also an equally very good one as well. So I've posted some pictures on Instagram today, actually. So,
fun.
But
so did you get something really fun too while you were there for Father's Day?
Yeah, we went. Yeah, did lots of other nice things as well. But yeah, so obviously I had to spend lots of money in the Lego store as well. So.
Oh, that's awesome. And Glenn Copeland is here. Hello, Glenn. Well, hi there. Yeah, I am so sorry, Glenn. I know you've been waiting in the room for us to get this going, and we had some technical difficulties, but we're here. We're here now, and we're happy to have you. And ahoy, hoy. We also have Hooded One who's here. So welcome, Hooded One. I know that there's been so much chatter going on right now about Brick World. I don't know, Nick, if you've been noticing a lot of the mocks that are on display.
I mean, most of my feed, most of my feed seems to be people and it's like.
Yeah, there's 1,700 builders there.
Yeah, I mean,
what's interesting about I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, we have big conference, big events here, but it doesn't ever feel the same. Like my feed, I mean, I have lots of UK and US people I follow, but it feels so much that kind of Brick World is like almost every single person I follow is there almost, and it sort of.
I think so. The ones who aren't there are people like me who don't like really large crowds. And so I'm going to be at Brick Rodeo in a couple of weeks. So I'm going to meet Glenn for the first time. So Glenn Copeland's in the chat. I'm looking forward to meeting you in person. And I think that Hooded One said he's going to be there next year. So Hooded One was asking me if I would maybe take the effort to go to Brick World, because I guess I just have to get over my aversion to crowds and really loud noises. And yes, there's some amazing builds at Brick World. The one that has really caught my eye is New Hashima, which actually has evolved over several years. And the person who has been coordinating that is a collab with 70 different builders from 7 countries, and put together this cyberpunk Asian style type of cyber city, which just is just mind blowing. And it goes from the floor. It's not just a tabletop. It's actually partially tabletop and partially from the floor up as a big towers. Just if you take a look at the Pink Wheels account _@PinkWheels, it's I'll put that in the chat. It's just mind blowing. And I don't know if anybody has heard any of the awards yet. Oops, did I misspell that? I misspelled that. Hold up. Pink Wheels _ yeah, it should be 2 underscores like that. Yeah, New Hashima is mind-boggling. And if you do a search on New Hashima, apparently it started in 2020, I think at Brick Fair or one of the conventions in Alabama. So it's been around for a while, but I think this is the first time where there's been a massive number of builders. I mean, if you're talking about 70 builders, and if each one brought a little module to add to the city, I mean, the original city was big already to start with because it has, rivers and bridges and massive towers, and then they added on top of that more builders. I'm still in shock because I've participated in the collab with 15, 16 other builders, and to even think about 70 builders being involved in this.
Yeah, the effort to try and collaborate with that many people to make sure. I'm doing something with. We have here a log called Brickish, who I mean mostly are I think UK. I think it's and we're looking at doing some mosaic stuff where we're taking existing paintings and basically very famous painting, and they're being done in three, and they're all being split up into little squares, and they've been done. There's 3 different styles. Some will be greebles, some will be studs out, some will be, I can't remember what the third option was, but there was 3, but they'll all be broken down, and it doesn't really quite matter if it all matches. So each person, I've got 2 different paintings. So I've got 2 different squares to do, and so it's what will be interesting because that will then be used for a lot of the UK shows and stuff like that. So it can be quite interesting how different collaborations, people kind of suddenly, how it all will kind of fit together. So but that's gonna, even then, that's only, I think even picture that is only like 15, and like you say. But 70
I can't even imagine 70 unless what they did is 7 countries, 10 builders per country, and they had one person as a designated person to coordinate. That would make sense to me. And Hooded One is saying that he's trying to go to Brick World 2024. So he's put the gauntlet to me, saying, if I go to Chicago, would you think about going to Chicago? I told him I'd think about it. And I don't know. How about you, Nick? Have you thought about going to an international convention? Or
I haven't until now. Actually, I have to admit, I haven't now. I haven't visited the States for about 10 years now, so maybe it's time I need to come back, and maybe it needs.
I haven't been to Europe in about 10 years. So I'm with you. I was looking. I think I was going to say 2013. I think is the last time I was in Europe. I was in Italy, and I think what else was I? I want to say I was in Italy and maybe Britain for a little bit, London, but it's been a while. It has been so long since I've been to Europe. But now that, travel restrictions are over, we can start going and visiting with people. But the problem is, I told Hooded One this, 2024 in April is the lunar eclipse or the solar eclipse. In fact, I'm wearing my solar eclipse shirt. And 2024, I'll be in Texas in April. And if Brick World is only a few months after that, I'm not sure if I'll be able to swing both, but I won't make any promises right now. Hooded One.
2025.
I'll put it on the radar. I told him I would rather meet him in Amsterdam. If I could get to Amsterdam in like 2024 in the fall, because I want to go to Billund, right? So I was thinking I could pop over to Amsterdam, pop over to Billund, pop over to London, and then head home. That's kind of what I'm thinking, but that's a big trip. So I don't know if that's going to happen. But we're here to review the hashtag Mind the Brick and hashtag Rebrick This challenge, which was taking place this month of May. And I apologize because usually I run a full month challenge, and we started it the middle of May, from May 15th through May 31st. And we had all these people getting ready for Brick World. We had all these people who were participating in Memorial Day weekend events. So we didn't have a lot of contributors. And even myself, I think I got mine in the last day of the challenge. So we only have a few builds to review, but they are really wonderful. And I wanted to make sure we had the time to do that. And I was curious, Nick, before we start on that, how many other challenges did you have in the month of May that you were also doing this awareness for mental health?
I'm trying to think if I've done any others.
I thought you had at least 2 others.
I'm doing basically, so what I have is sort of, originally Mind the Bricks was sort of a January only kind of thing. And then I kind of realized, well, again, it's sort of mental health isn't really just for January. It's so
right.
I'm trying to also tie in to lots of other people's challenges as well and stuff like with what you do and other. So I'm being a bit more. So I'm going to have every year still January, which will be dedicated events and months and challenges. But what I want is ad hoc stuff. But I mean, so we've got a few potentially lined up for later this year. But the main ones I've still been doing is we have this sort of ongoing one called Minifig Your Emotions, which is a kind of basically a hashtag for basically anyone can post at any time, and it's sort of you just post a minifigure which represents basically how you feel, and that can be a good thing, bad thing, whatever, how and hopefully the idea behind that is to kind of hopefully encourage more people to kind of just talk about mental health and
think about it. Yeah, it's so true.
And just use your minifigure. And sometimes also, even if it's a bit hard to talk about how you feel, maybe a minifigure might explain it more. And so that's just a sort of an ongoing one. And then, just sort of, there is also an ongoing Mind the Brick, which anyone can post anything. So anyone can use Mind the Brick at any time. If you got basically anything mental, if you ever built anything which you kind of is to do with mental health, your well-being, happiness. So it's quite an open sort of, so that's, then we will do the specific ones like the Rebrick one and other challenges as well. So so Mind the Brick is open for anyone to use.
It's pretty much year round then. Well, that's good to know, because I'm sure there are many times where myself and others feel like we have to build because something is happening in our lives and causing us stress. And by doing that, it helps. And all right, so Hooded One has put in another challenge here. Not really a challenge, just a statement that if he goes to Brick World in 2024, June 15th through 16th, it's he'll be celebrating his birthday during Brick World. And it's kind of like, oh, wow, okay. Okay, well, Chicago, what's nice about Chicago is you can get direct flights there from pretty much anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure I can find something from Portland to Chicago fairly reasonably if I plan in ahead. And don't worry, Hooded One, about missing the challenge. Like I said, I take a lot of responsibility for that because we didn't really promote it as well as we have in the past. And we normally do a full month instead of just 2 weeks. So the next time this comes around, maybe closer to the holidays, because I'm getting ready for a couple of different conventions coming up. The next one I'm going to is Brick Rodeo, which is in a few weeks. And then I'm thinking about BrickCon because our group of the Jurassic Park people are thinking about bringing their collab up to Seattle. So even though I've moved from Seattle, I don't live there anymore, I kind of feel a kinship for that. So we'll see what happens. And Hooded One also said that Brickworm got a special white brick. Oh, I didn't see her post that yet. I'll have to go take a look. But I know she brought a lot of mosaics of her Mandalorian mosaics. So that's awesome. All right, so let's take a look at these builds. So this is, just to give everybody a prep, is that this is the challenge that we had, is the 3-in-1 fantasy creatures. You take this set as a basis and then see what you can build from the parts. And that it was hosted by me and by Debo Bricks, because we've done several Rebrick This challenges over the years. And then we added a Mind the Brick as part of this as well. So you were to put hashtag Rebrick This and hashtag Mind the Brick so that we could find it. And we had some really, really great entries I wanted to share with you. Here's this. I'm going to talk about the top post first. Yes, so this one is from little.lego.lives or lives. And this one was actually their third, I think, or fourth. They did several. And I think that this one was just absolutely adorable. I just love this.
I totally agree, especially because it's so also relatable to the actual kind of the set. I mean, that looks like it could have been come from the actual woodland set.
Yeah,
so
exactly. You're looking at this going, this could be a deer fantasy creature. That could have been the fourth of the 3-in-1s, right? Yeah. I really love too the neck here, because you can see that the neck here has that hinge, the 1x2 with the hinge piece. And so this is an articulating piece, so the head will move up and down. These are all the legs are all fully articulated too, with these mixel joints. So you're just like going, wow. I hope that this person, I hope she keeps this. She says she's loved these forest creatures for ages, and it's been my go-to set for my kids' gifts when they go to a friend's birthday party for about 2 years. I'm glad I have my own set now. So what was funny about this is that she was posting several different builds, and one of them, actually, one of her posts was seeing this in the shop and seeing that it was on sale. And she said, okay, this is a sign. I need to be doing this challenge. But really, really love everything that she put in there. All right, so let's look at the next one. And for those of you who may know, this is very much on brand for Debo Bricks.
I love this one as well. It's just got so much character to it.
He's really amazing at characters. And the other thing about Debo is he tries to use every piece in the box. Yeah. And he doesn't mention it in his description. In fact, what's interesting about the description, I'm just going to scroll down here so everybody can see is, I mean, just the articulation in here, the use of the color, the funny view of the eyes. But he says here in his description, I don't feel like talking about this build, and that's okay. And I think, you know, in just a few words, he not only brought in comedy, but he also brought in the point of the challenge, right? Is about mental health. Is that sometimes you just don't feel like talking about things, and that's okay. It's okay not to talk about it. Just you can appreciate the build for what it is. I don't know. Did you have any other thoughts about this?
It's just to say, it's the color. I mean, it has to be the great thing of this particular set choice you did is just the colors. I mean, it's just that those purples and whites with the. It's just it is such a character. You can sort of imagine it being having its own animated TV series, you know, sort of thing.
Yeah, it gives me samurai vibes looking at this with these shoulder pads, and I guess maybe the way that the headdress is too.
Yeah, I get a weird sort of Harlequin clown aspect to it as well.
Yeah, I see that too.
Yeah.
I'll have to ask Debo, but he doesn't feel like talking about it.
No. And that's what's great. It's just a nice kind of very cool, just a very cool.
Oh, and Spot the Magic Ninjas in the house. Ahoy, hoy, friends. I can't chat because I'm working, but I'm listening along. Okay, no problem. Thank you, Spot, for tuning in. And yeah, we were just talking about that Debo has a particular style, which you can see in a lot of his builds. And speaking of Debo, here's another one of Debo's Rebrick This builds. In fact, I think this is the first one he did. And he did a series of spaceships, not just these two, but you can see that he kept, you know, the color scheme, all, you know, the purple together, the yellows together. And then here's a close-up of the yellow one. I thought he made a couple more. I thought he had a couple smaller ones too in here. Maybe not. Maybe I was thinking of something else. But I like even how he used these little clips on the back to make it look like thrusters or flames.
Yeah.
Oh, he did. He did do this one little... this little monster thing. And I'll just read this out. Here we have a dichotomy of spacecraft representing the positive and negative of our personalities in an alien, because I often feel out of place socially. The point of Mind the Brick is to encourage conversation about mental health and well-being and to push past the stigma surrounding the topic. Brought to you by Brighton Bricks. Rebrick This is a chance to create something new from the parts in a particular Lego set. There are limitless possibilities, and you can use as many or as few of the parts as you wish. Join in on the fun. So if I think this last one also is kind of indicative of Debo's personality too, just of the quirkiness, and he's just so much fun. So I'm sorry I missed him. He was at Brick World, so I could have seen him in person if I decided to go to Brick World, but I just couldn't do it. So I have to talk myself into these things.
Oh, I completely understand that, because again, this is sort of one of the things which puts, social anxiety is one of the things which kind of puts me off going to a lot of the UK shows, is because of that. Lots of people, lots of noise, I find it very hard to kind of, part of my anxiety, I find it very hard to talk to people. I don't know, kind of that sort of, social interaction is like, I mean, Lisa, obviously, you could talk about Lego to people, but that's sort of it. And that's why sort of, that's why I can completely understand why sometimes, these big shows are very great for that, but also sometimes they can be a bit too big, sort of thing.
That's true. And I'm just going to go back to Debo's build again, because we have a comment in the chat from Hooded One that he gets a Cthulhu vibe from this Debo build. Hopefully I pronounced that right.
Yes, yeah.
And Brick Jedi's in the house. Hey, Brick Jedi, good to see you. And Spot the Magic Ninja also says Debo is the king. So yeah, Debo is pretty amazing with that. Yep, and see, another reason to go to Brick World. Well, I mean, there's so many people there. And the other thing that was interesting about Brick World is that all those Lego Masters that were there, I think they said 45 Lego Masters from all the different series. I know that Fleur Watkins was there, or Watkins Fleur was there from Australia. Yeah. And then you had quite a few, like Tricky Bricks was there, Flynn and Richard from season 1, and along with Amy, Double D, and Crystal, and even I'm trying to remember their first names, but it's the higher the hair, the closer to God. That team, they were there too. I was just like, wow, it's quite the reunion. So, okay, Hooded One, I told you I would consider it. Now that you've thrown in, it's your birthday, and Debo might be there too. We might have to have a little gathering up there in Chicago next year. All right, so this one is Brighton Bricks. So this is next. And this, you mentioned, this is your weird spaceship, was your attempt at combining 12-Minute Tuesday and Rebrick This challenge. So tell us a little bit about what is 12-Minute Tuesday.
So that's another challenge. Someone else, I can't just better, is I think Angela Jedi is one of the people I think behind that one.
Okay.
And there is, and it's just basically 12 minutes. That's it. You just build whatever you can in 12 minutes.
12 minutes, and then that's it. You're done.
And that's sort of, it's one of the things. It's sort of harder than you think. It's sort of, you first
think,
yeah, 12 minutes. 12
minutes. I take 12 minutes just to plan what I'm going to be building.
That's sort of what happened. You take a few minutes to think, all right, what do I want to roughly do? Then you start doing it. Then it's like, then you go, oh, I don't like that. You take it apart. Then you go, you look at the clock and go, oh, I've got less time.
You better start building.
Yeah, and it's just sort of, but it was sort of nice to do it, because it wasn't sort of, it was that sort of.
There's less pressure, right? Because you say 12 minutes and you just, put something together in that amount of time.
And, so and also knowing you only got 12 minutes kind of feels you a bit relaxed, going, well, it doesn't have to be the finished article. It's only a 12-minute build. So
it doesn't have to be perfect, right?
No, and it was just sort of, and again, it's like one of those things. It's all about that play, and so just sort of seeing what happens. So yeah, I'm not 100% happy with it, but I quite enjoyed it at
something
the time.
about the number 12, because there's another Lego Master, Kirsty from Lego Masters Australia. She goes by Brick Princess Buttercup, but I think she changed her name. But anyway, she does 12 pieces, and she calls it the Dirty Dozen. So it's like the daily brick limit challenges that Joriel Builds and I used to host. And she just says 12 pieces, and then you build something from that. So but she calls it the Dirty Dozen. So we have the Dirty Dozen. If we do the Dirty Dozen in a 12-minute challenge, then you'll have, 12 and 12.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to finish reading this, is that as it was a fantasy animal set we had to rebuild for Rebrick This, and I wanted to see if I could create a spaceship. For me, spaceships is what I created as a kid, as it was also doing the 12-minute challenge. It was quite basic. Well, you're being too hard on yourself.
That's the problem with all this thing, and this is self-critique. I mean, it has to be. I kind of know I'm the worst at this, as being so very self-critical, and this is one of the things I tried when I do all my workshops, and I'm trying to kind of teach people, particularly adults, to be less self-critical, to be less. I always going to say to people is that when people create mosaics at my workshops and they all go, "Oh, it's okay," I go, "Well, look, or it's not good." I go to it. Did you enjoy it? They'll go, "Yes." Do you like it? They go, "Yes," and they go, "That's all that matters."
That's all that matters. Yeah.
And that's what I sort of have to try. I have to try and keep telling myself, and it's like, that's all it's a matter is if you build something, do you like it? Did you have fun doing it? And if you can say yes, and I did, and I had fun making it, so that's what sort of and also part of the reason I post this, if I really didn't like it, I wouldn't post it, and I partly post it because Lego isn't perfect. Lego is all sorts of things, so it's we need to be less self-critical, and it's the thing I'm trying to work on myself. So that's the other reason I post it. So
we're always our own worst critic, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But I really love the playfulness of this. I think too, putting this spaceship with an eye on it, so it's almost like the spaceship is a living item or a living thing.
It's because that set had so many, because I think it's got two big eyes in it, and it was one of those things where you're building it and you sort of go, I wasn't planning to have the eye. The eye literally was like the last minute, and I just kind of
was it? Okay. It's fun. It's a really fun addition.
Yeah, and I just kind of went, actually, I quite like that piece and I want to include it. Yeah, all right, it's an organic.
Yeah, it's very, very, very fun. All right, so we have some more. Here's mine. So I'm posting this quickly for the Mind the Brick and Rebrick This challenge with Brighton Bricks and Debo Bricks to raise awareness of mental health. And these are two character faces from the Fantasy Forest Lego set. It's a representation of how circumstances might put me in a bad mood, and that just changing perspectives can easily change that for the better. And sometimes it is a talk with a dear friend. Sometimes it's a walk in the forest or on the beach. Sometimes it's listening to soothing music. Sometimes it's treating myself to a nice treat or comfort food, whatever the method. Often the solution is within my own grasp. And when the world is looking bleak, just give it some time, as it will be brighter. And you can imagine this is kind of like super stressed. This is me as a super stressed little Lego character.
Again, it's that same playfulness, which particularly the first one. I mean, it's like it's 21 pieces. I just counted.
Oh, you counted them?
I just counted it. I was just wanting to see if it was 12.
No, it's definitely not 12. Yeah, no, I didn't try to do the 12.
21, and it's just like again, it's something which is nice and simple, and it's again. I always think, because I mean, Lego can, like you say, these Lego shows, and you can do massive things, but actually sometimes very small things very things with few pieces can be equally beneficial to us as builders. And I think this is as pure as stress relievers, as, palette cleansers or whatever, it's just pure bits of fun. And that's what I just love about this. It is just very cute. It's very, I mean, again,
Thank you. You're too kind.
No, but it's the same bit. I mean, it's like the yellow one is sort of, again, you can sort of imagine it being, both of them, you can sort of imagine it. I sort of imagine cartoons when I was a kid probably looked like this. So,
this is my stressed out personality, and this is my happy, playful personality. So if you can imagine, and yellow was actually one of my favorite colors when I was in high school. I don't know if I told you this story, but I painted my entire room in yellow. I had like a yellow bedspread, yellow walls, and I told my parents it makes me happy. When I walk into this room, it makes me happy. I mean, we're talking about bright yellow everywhere. I haven't done that in a long time. I actually painted a room specifically a color just to help with my mood. But yeah, it's cute. It's something that I like. Pikachu. It does look like Pikachu, doesn't it?
Yeah, it has
adorable.
They have that.
Thank you. I guess I could be Pikachu hooded one. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah. But Pikachu is also a very playful, happy character as well compared to some of the others. And then, Brick Princess is amazing. Yeah, she does some really, really great work. But so that was mine. And like I said in the description, I literally did this the last day of the challenge. It was the challenge that I was co-hosting with Debo, and I just got to it the last day, but I got it in. So that was the thing, is that it just, take your time to do it. Okay, here's another one from Little Lego Lives. And I thought this was so much playful fun as well. It's like a mech dancing to me, or even one of those old Mixel types of characters.
I was about to say that. This to me reminded me of the Mixels. It was. I loved the Mixels because they were brilliant for parts. They were really nice.
I love the fact you could take 3 of them and make a bigger Mixel character.
It was just the fact that they were the perfect ones for. I used to find Mixels were great for. Just you get some, you build it, but take it apart, build anything, and it was just like that. Create. That was the ones I used to find. That was sort of sets which helped me trying to rediscover some creativity. I quite just because it was really some quite interesting pieces. I think. Yeah.
This one.
And this reminds me of one of these. Yeah.
This one looks like it has a tail too. And this description is another go at Rebrick This with Debo Bricks and Brickanisa from Mind the Brick. Thanks for the recommendation, Brighton Bricks. I hope to have another build if I can. Much fun to have. And apparently, I'm not sure where the description says. It says Bob is cool from Debo. Did she name this Bob? Maybe it's in your reply, or the reply to you. Oh. Does your creature have a name? And I guess she decided Bob. Yeah. So this creature is named Bob, and he's pretty cool. Yeah, playful. I really like the shield piece too. It just really looks like a nose here, with the mouth. Yeah, and of course the articulation here with the legs. Lots of fun. All right, let's see. What's next? I think we have 1 or 2 more.
I think it's another one from...
This one. This one is so adorable. This is, I think, one of my favorites. So this one's also from Little Lego Lives. My first crack. This was the first one she did for the Mind the Brick and Rebrick This challenge. The eyes of the original owl could not be ignored. I think she's rebricked into a cat by a food bowl. I plan to have another couple of goes. Much fun to have because Lego makes me so happy, and Lego for mental health. But yeah, this totally looks like a cat near a food bowl. I so got the cat vibe from this.
He had, but also I think it's the pose as well. It's sort of the kind of slightly kind of up on its legs, the tilted head.
Mm-hmm.
It sort of
the tilt of the head is what really makes this character so sweet. And you mentioned the posability of the legs here too, like gingerly approaching the bowl.
Yeah.
Very,
and
very
the back
sweet.
leg and the back legs slightly off the floor because they're being raised,
Yes, because cats have that little arch too.
Yeah, it has all of that kind of.
Mm-hmm.
You can sort of tell it's a cat, not a dog, sort of thing.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a cat with those ears.
Yeah, I mean, I like its tail. It's sort of again that little kind of.
Yes, this little 1x1 brick with the scroll piece.
Yeah, I never know. What do you? I never know what you actually call that brick.
I think it is a 1x1 brick with scroll.
Okay.
I think so. Somebody correct me. I know Glenn's in the chat. So Glenn, if you know what the that brick piece is, this one on the end, I'm pretty sure this is a 1x1 brick with scroll. I'm going to call it. The only reason why I say that is I have a whole pick-a-brick cup of those, which I'm pretty sure I looked up for some challenge or something.
Yeah, I got a load of them. I use them for the mosaics because I say when I go to our pick-a-brick wall in Brighton, it's like I always try and say what weird parts are there, and I got a whole load of those in gold, and it's interesting.
I have those in gold too.
Yeah, just seeing how interesting how people use them and stuff like that. So it's always
well, I think one of the future challenges that I'm thinking about is a seed part challenge. Bricklink calls it a modified 1x1 with scroll with hollow stud. Well, okay, I just missed the hollow stud piece, but I did call it. I said 1x1 with scroll.
Well done.
Woo! Woo! I know I can revel in my geekiness. So thank you both Hooded One and Glenn for checking on that. That's what I love too about streaming is that the chat can get involved. It's like, help me out here. What is the name of this piece? So thank you both. All right. I think, do we have one more? I think we have one more. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, there's this one, which actually was part of the Mock Arena and Mock Improv, but it was rebricking this set. And I wanted to just mention this because this was Debo's entry. And it wasn't specifically for Mind the Brick, but the set inspired us to use it for Mind the Brick. And it says, so Trolling on Ganymede, today's Mock Improv from Mock Arena. An alien DJ is trolling the Ganymede catfish trolls. But little does he know, they are trolling him too. And the challenge was to use only parts from this set, along with minifig and a 16x16 plate. So you could use up to 12 additional pieces, but I managed without the additional allowance. And that's the other thing amazing about Debo is just he just has this brilliant mind, and you can see what he's done with this catfish. And he used the alien DJ as his minifig character for this build.
It's just, again, it's just has so much character that, as well. Again, it's the fact it's that head, that shape of but also, I mean, I have to admit, those eyes are always a great part.
Yeah, I think they're 3x3 eyes, which are not very common either.
No.
I like too how he puts this close up of the mixel joints and how he attached also this piece here. So that's another thing about Debo is he has a really great mind for innovative connections.
Yeah. I assume that's his hand, isn't it? Yeah, that bit, yeah. Yeah, I can see it a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I think that going back to Debo, I think used every piece in the set for this build. So he didn't waste anything. Every piece in the set appears on this MOC.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's why it's just interesting when you see all of this come together. Okay, so I think that's the end of our little sharing for today. And did you have any announcements for anything coming up in the future that you have?
Nothing at the moment. But so just say, Mind the Brick challenges are open, or particularly Mind the Brick and minifigure emotions challenges are open all the time. So I mean, anyone can, if anyone wants to do that, please feel free. And also, main thing of that is the whole point of Mind the Brick is, again, it's, as someone said, and so is about starting conversations about mental health. So it's sort of, if you're feeling, anyone listening is feeling, having a bad day, a bad week, or any going through anything, let's try and start these conversations and just just try and reduce the stigma and talk about it. And hopefully if you hear from other people who are going through similar things, you're going to realize you're not alone, you're not the only one.
Right.
That's a lot of times with mental health, you do kind of feel like it's only you doing it. And when you kind of feel other people going through it does sometimes help. You can go, yeah, okay, I know I'm not the only one doing it. And other people might have help. And one of the things we also post on my Brian Bricks, we post regularly, particularly on Wednesdays, mental health advice. We have basically kind of well-being advice and sort of, and again, if anyone has anything they want to share or anything like that, please do. It's sort of encouraged like that. And one of the main things I want to say is sort of, part of the kind of mental health thing is, one of the things we need to remember is, and I say I've got a t-shirt saying this, which I can show you in a minute, is it's okay not to be okay. I mean, that's sort of one of our mottos is, I can see if I can you can sort of catch it apart. Oh, my t-shirt.
I'm going to give you full screen so you can. That's
full screen. Okay, so you can see.
It's okay not to be okay.
And I've got Neil's. This is what I'm doing it on your phone, not on your thing.
And then you have the Space Benny as the character.
Benny. Yeah, you got Space Benny on it, and basically, it's okay not to be okay. And that's
Brick Jedi said that shirt is rad, and I love that. So, how could somebody get that shirt? Is it only available in the UK?
No idea yet. But yeah, contact me. Basically, I have a street artist in Brighton who's made this up for me, the picture, and I'm allowed to make it. So I'm fairly certain, if we have demand, we can make up t-shirts and stuff like that. But it's kind of the real main thing is kind of, I think for us, is that motto going, if you are having a bad day, bad week, or bad wherever it is sort of going, yeah, it's okay. We don't have to be perfect every day of the week. We don't have to be perfect.
That's so true. And I think we're always our own worst critic. I keep saying that all the time, is that I know that there have been times, like one time, in fact, it was recently, that we had Lego Masters New Zealand review and nobody showed up. There was one person who showed up in the chat, but it was PT's relative. And it was kind of like, I know people want to see these shows. And what really keeps me going is just people keep saying, yeah, just keep doing what you're doing because we like your content. And just don't worry about the number of viewers. Really focus on the content. And it also has to do with the time of day, right? It was Friday at 5:00, and that's not a normal time that I would stream. But yeah, I just remember though feeling really anxious about it.
I can always view it as kind of my motto is quality over quantity. It is a lot of my events. I do a lot of mosaic events, and I might only have a half a dozen people there, but especially doing mosaics is actually quite more mindful. If there's too many people there, you don't get the same. It's rushed, it's busy, it's noisy.
That's true.
The purpose of some of it is a more kind of, and when I get comments from parents and saying, "Look, I've never seen my child be so quiet and so relaxed," as
it
makes
nice.
you kind of go, look, and it's sort of that's the kind of, in some ways, it's more about having quality engagement rather than it being hundreds of people.
Well, and that's why I love all these people in the chat. I love when people like you take the time to have this stream so that we could talk about these issues, because the best part, I think, for me is seeing that these are recorded so you can always reflect back on them later, even if you miss the stream. And thank you so much, everybody who's been in the chat with us. And also, I wanted to mention, too, that we have a new schedule. Since I was talking about being anxious, not everybody knows the new schedule. So I'm going to just forewarn you, Nick, this is going to show up in the middle. So you might have to shift over if you want to have your face isn't plugged, or you might want to hide behind it. But here's the new schedule. So here's their new schedule for the week is that I'm now doing Thursdays, Fridays, and Sundays. So today is Sunday. Normally we stream at 1 o'clock. But because we had a special guest and we wanted to make sure it was a good time for him, we streamed today at 2. Thursdays are Thrifty Thursday. Many of you who are here know about that, 8 o'clock Pacific time. And then Fridays, we have Lego Masters New Zealand. And I found my Kiwi puppet. So my Kiwi puppet is going to be making an appearance every now and then. Fridays at 5 o'clock Pacific. And then afterwards, for members only, we have Pandy's Play Space. So I'm decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to open Pandy's Play Space at different times. Like last time I did it 7:30. Sometimes it'll be 9 o'clock, but it'll always be Friday night and about 3 hours. So I will figure out the time for this Friday, but that's for members only. And if you are thinking about being part of a member, there's 2 ways that you can do that. The easiest way is to go to locals.com on Brickanista. And then the other way is through Rumble, because we're also co-streaming on Rumble right now. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with Rumble.
No.
But it's another streaming service. And it's I like it because it has more freedom of speech with regard to health issues. And that's something, for those of you who followed me for a long time, you know that I've had some concerns about how the COVID vaccine was launched. But I have more concerns about how different types of streaming services have pretty much blackballed certain streamers because they may have differing opinions. So that's part of the reason why, because people are saying, why are you streaming on Rumble? It's like, well, it's a new audience. And 2 of the people that I like to follow, Sunil Dand, who's a doctor, and I'm trying to remember the other name, John Campbell. He both of them are essentially healthcare related people, and they stream on Rumble. And I like Russell Brand too. So I figured, I'm not alone going over there, but some people have been wondering why. So now you know. And if you do want to follow me on Rumble, you can go here, rumble.com/user/Brickanista. But once again, happy Father's Day. Thank you, Nick, again, for being on the show. I know it's been a busy day for you. Thank you so much for all you do for the community. And everybody here, you're listening to the Brickanista Broadcast Network here on YouTube and Rumble. Please like and subscribe to the stream and be a part of the growing. And by the way, YouTube just announced that they've lowered their threshold. So instead of 1,000 subscribers to monetize, you only need 500. So now I'm only 120 some odd away. So that feels much more approachable now. So I think that was a good move on YouTube's part to start doing that. And if you want to send any kind of fan mail, you can send it to P.O. Box 87232, Vancouver, Washington 98687. And don't forget to follow Brighton Bricks on Instagram. And if you want to chat with him about that shirt that he was showing off, that would be the best way to reach him. So thank you, everybody. Thank you again, Nick. It's always a pleasure having you here.
No worries. No.
And we'll chat again about the next type of collaboration that we can do. Yes. Great. Well, once again, everybody, thank you, Brick Jedi. Thank you, Hooded One. Thank you, Spot the Magic Ninja. Thank you, Glenn Copeland. Thank you for anybody who happens to be watching this later. I'm the Brickanista, and I'm here with Brighton Bricks. Thank you, everybody, and may the clutch be with you. Take care. Bye.
Bye.